to Instagram real quick as well.
What's up?
All right, we are officially
E-
live. Officially
Hello.
live. So,
What is up?
we got Discreet as always as the co-host. Hello, I am Wonder Mike, your host, and today we got our special guest Marcus Shaw with the Empire Firm, and a couple of different other things that we're going to talk about today as well, no doubt. So, Marcus, first before I go anywhere else, on behalf of Discreet and I and all the outsiders that are going to be tapping in, whether it's the live here with us now or catching this on YouTube after it's loaded up, we want to thank you sincerely for your time today.
Definitely.
We know you're a
Thank you
busy
guys for
man.
having me. Yeah.
Man, no doubt, no doubt. And Marcus already knows what's up. Discreet knows what's up. And the people not tuning into us for the first time do know what's up. But let me give you all a quick little reminder of who we are and what we do outside. So the We Outside Livecast is simply a conversation built on authenticity and organic flow of conversation where we bring in a special guest and we chop up, have a dope conversation. We keep it real. We keep it authentic. You could ask Marcus today because we're live right now. We did not script anything other than the time that we had to be here and a general thought of what we're going to kind of speak about today. Is that simple, people. You're going to get some knowledge dropped on you today. That is a fact. We have Marcus is a specialist in a lot of things. So ask some questions because we're always going to look back at these comments. So if you have any questions, especially if we can't get to them on the live, drop them because we'll come back.
No, we've got questions.
Oh, yes, we definitely have questions.
And
bring on the questions. Bring them on.
Man, for sure. So without further ado, I've met Marcus. Man, we're going on about 3, almost maybe 4 years now, I think, Marcus.
Yeah, time flies, man. Time flies.
Man, isn't that the truth? And coincidentally, we met outside via social media, man. We just kind of tapped in with each other and conversation started from there. We got to meet in person because, my wife and I, Chelsea, are investors, something that you are very much into as well. We've had many conversations about investing. You're an entrepreneur of many things. You had a couple different companies. You're running the Empire Firm right now with you and your wife, Salome. Hey, shout out to the whole entire family out that way, man.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Make sure you give them the love. So we had the opportunity to sit down a couple different times and just start to build a friendship and relationship built on, very much similarities of how we move in life and how we're looking to move in life,
Yes,
short term and in the future as well. So I've always appreciated about that and wanted to bring you outside to share your specialties and your story with everybody out here as well, because I think it's a very important story to be told. And before I do kick it over to you real quick, Marcus, Discreet, remember when we had Joe Black on the show about 6 weeks ago?
I do.
And Joe Black was a college Division I basketball star who got recruited to Colorado State University and played there. Coincidentally, Marcus is our second Division I college athlete from Colorado State University as well, by way of American football, Discreet, not European football.
I know.
So, it's a Fort Collins connection back at it here again.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Go Rams. Rams.
With that said, Marcus, again, thank you for your time. Go ahead and take a few moments, man. Let the people know who you are, what you're about, and we're just going to go into some organic question asking and conversation, man.
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I currently still own a moving company, a dump truck company, but my passion right now is in the financial world. Me and my wife have started a company called the Empire Firm, where we educate families on financial literacy. That is helping them come up with game plans so that they can retire early and eliminate debt. That is our true passion right now. It's something that we lack in our community, something we are not talking about much. So thank you guys for having me on this platform and allowing me to speak about this.
I cannot wait. I've just been thinking, I'll quickly just say, I've been thinking just today, I'm 43 now, and I've had a hard day at work today, and I keep thinking, like, retirement age is 60, like late 60s in our country, but no one should be working beyond 40.
Shouldn't.
You shouldn't. It just, But I will let you carry on, Marcus. Sorry.
But if you have a game plan and everything in order from an early age, by the time you hit your 40s and 50s, you should be able to retire. And a lot of people think that's a lot harder than what it is. But if you sit down with someone and really talk about these things, really dial in on the numbers, it is truly possible. And that's just what I want people to understand and know. That you do not have to work in your 70s. I don't want to be working at Walmart checking tickets. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would someone ever have to do that? They've been working their entire life and they're still working. Can't just be at home and be at peace and enjoy your family.
No.
No, I can very much appreciate that, you know, because I lived that rat race for a very long time. And while I do appreciate some of the things that I took out of living in that corporate world and working for other people, because I, like you, Marcus, today I'm a serial entrepreneur. Always have been, I think, deep down, but really didn't make that move until, you know, roughly about 6 years ago. Always was working things in the backgrounds, but you know, there's sometimes just that day where you got to rip off the Band-Aid, right, and just say, I'm doing this. So, you know, my
I'm
question,
getting that.
right?
I'm on my mission.
We've been having conversations, and we talked about goals yesterday, Discreet, which is important. I think it's a perfect segue to the first question that I have for you, Marcus.
Definitely.
Whether it's the dump truck company, the moving company, now with what you're building with you and your amazing wife, you know, and anybody else that might be involved with that, you know, with respect to the Empire firm, what's the process of, you know, what's the process of building a business for you? What's your experience like, I guess you could say, and what do you feel if there's been one consistent challenge across the board, just starting multiple different companies? You know, if there's just one that you could kind of pinpoint, what's that like for you guys?
The process for me is making sure that you have a plan first, right? I know a lot of people, you know, they have these visions in their head that they're not right. And a plan to me is something that you're writing down, right? When it's in your head, it's just a dream, right? So long as you have a plan in place, that you have something that's written down, that's the first step, right? And then you kind of attack those things kind of one by one. I think a lot of people get in trouble when you kind of jump into things, try to do all things at one time. You have to do good at one thing first and then move on to the next. I think that's how successful business are run. And then one of the things that I've learned in business, which I didn't catch on to at an early stage rather, was delegating tasks. Right. I think sometimes we get in this thing that we have to do everything on our own, trying to save $1. But in actuality, you're losing because you're falling behind because you're not able to do other aspects that you're really great at. Right. You can't hone in on those things because you're trying to do everything. Right. So if you're able to delegate and have people that you can bring in people to help you succeed and be more powerful at what you do, be better at what you do, you'll get there a lot faster and farther. Right. We think that if we do it all on our own, I can figure it out on my own. I can keep everything. I can keep all the money in, but you're truly losing out on all the potential money that you can get by bringing other people in to help you get further.
That sits well with me.
Yeah, I understand.
I have a quick follow-up
question. It makes sense.
You know, essentially to that as well. Would it be fair to say, Marcus, that, you know, nobody's going to necessarily, you know, just have it happen for them overnight? Nobody's going to get rich overnight. You've got to have that kind of long-term investment. But at the same time, there's the short-term investment that we could be putting in, even if it's not financially. Can you kind of speak about what that means to you? You know, along the path to your goals.
To me, that is gaining knowledge in whatever industry that you're trying to succeed in, whether that's getting a mentor, which I reached out to you for when I was trying to do the real estate stuff, right? Reach out to someone else who's in the industry, who's been there before, to kind of help you avoid the pitfalls that they've already hit. So then that way you can get to that spot a little bit quicker. Again, everything is about trying to get somewhere quicker than you have to, right? Like you want to make it to $1 million, but how do I get to $1 million? Right? Go to someone who's been to $1 million. They can give you the steps and the processes that it takes to get there, right? So getting a mentor on one, and the other one, which I've really been honing in on, is reading, right? A lot of knowledge and understanding is found in books, right? A lot of people don't get that because a lot of people are not reading. A lot of answers are inside of books. If you just sit down in whatever industry that you're in and just continuously read, not one book, not two books, just read consistently, right? Then you'll start to have thoughts and plans of your own that's tailored for you based off of those other books and those other individuals.
And I think that's huge. I mean, you know, obviously from my experiences with respect to investing and the financial side, you know, speaking about what you're talking on with respect to the Empire firm today, I think it's important to know, you know, with what you said, the knowledge never stops, right? Things are changing. You know, Discreet, you and I talked about this on the show before. Like, if you're not adapting as an individual, then or as a company, as a brand, eventually you're going to become obsolete, right? And how do you continue to gain that knowledge without reading or seeking resources, whether that's a book, the internet, a person, Marcus, as you has mentioned as well. And I think that translates to any entrepreneurship, especially that of music or artistry producers, because at the end of the day, you have to be influenced by somebody, right?
Yes.
And then I think you put it the best way possible, Marcus. You got to put your own twist on it, right? And
you have to.
In that case, it's your own. It's what you want your brand to look like. For an artist or a producer, it's your own sound, trying to create your own sound as well. And I think the point that I'm trying to make there ultimately is, and you guys can let me know if you agree with me or not, is it's okay to be influenced by somebody and utilize that as a tool or resource for you to level up in any which way that you're needing to.
You've got to.
You have to.
You have to. You have to.
But there's a way that you can still make it your own and be authentic with it as well, right?
Yeah. I do want to add one thing though. A lot of people when they're starting out in business, when they're trying to figure it all out, they're afraid of failing. But what they don't understand is the person who fails the quickest will succeed the fastest. Because every person that you have, it's a learning curve. You just don't jump in and just understand and be the best at where you are just automatically, right? Everyone that you can think of who's been successful has failed, and not just one time. They have failed repeatedly. It's plenty of entrepreneurs who put their money into a business and the business has failed. Did they quit? No, they put their money, they re-upped their money, found a way to get more money, got a little bit more understand where they failed at, created another one, more experience, the whole nine, and then eventually they succeeded. Everything is just not going to come just like that. It's a part of what you were saying, Mike, was the delayed gratification piece of in this learning process and the learning curve in the beginning. You just have to go through it, and you have to be willing to go through it, and you have to get your mind right to go through it in order to succeed.
Definitely.
No. You got something discreet?
No, I was listening, saying I couldn't agree more. I mean, listening to this right now is so appropriate for me after the last few days, because I've been, something's happened to me the last couple of days, bro. And this conversation we're having now is just perfect timing. So I don't really want to disturb Marcus too much.
No. I can.
Do you think?
Hey, we're here to speak with the subject matter expert when it comes to these things.
I will say, quick question, Marcus. What age was you when this all started? When you started having these thoughts about, wanting
being
to do
better?
Yeah, basically.
Man, as an entrepreneur, that's always been my mind. So I think I was kind of different as a kid in the fact that when people would ask kind of what you want to do growing up. Now, mind you, I was a football player growing up, so that was always my first thing, right? Was being a football player. But outside of that, when they were like, "What company do you work for? What do you want to do?" and it was always like, I want to do my own thing. It's always been like that, and I can cater that to my dad, who was an entrepreneur at an early age. Right, when I was young, he had his own lawn care service. He still has it now, and I just saw him out working, doing his own thing, creating his own schedule, being his own man. Right, so that I think that had a big piece on me growing up, and then my mom, she's always had that entrepreneur mindset. She's always been, whatever company she was in, she's always been kind of at the top, right? So she's always wanted to be the best at what she does, but then be in control of what she does, right? So having that in my life growing up, I think really helped me kind of cater to being more of an entrepreneur, more so than being in the corporate world.
That makes so much sense, really, because I looked up to my mum and dad hell of a lot when they worked. And they were, they were typical jobs. My dad was a welder. My mum worked in nursing. And my dad always told me, as soon as you leave school, get a job. So I had that mindset where you had the mindset of, I've lost the word.
Yeah, entrepreneur. Yeah, for sure.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm so tired. But, like this, I mean, that is fantastic, because I've literally had these thoughts, I don't know, for the past, I would say since 2017, which was, it's not the earliest, definitely not, but that's what me and Mike want to do really, is get this in kids' heads, as early as possible. This is what you want to do. Don't follow the typical rat race. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Now, mind you, everyone can't be an entrepreneur, but if you have that feeling
No.
inside, right? Like if you
Mhm.
really have a true burning for that, then try it. At least
Yeah.
try it. Don't
Yeah.
don't go out with regrets. At least try it.
Mm.
No, absolutely. Marcus, I got a question for you from one of the
Yeah.
last couple of things that you said. Obviously, going through, growing up as most kids in this country, want to grow up being a football player, basketball player, baseball
Yeah.
player. Discreet, I know it's football
Yeah.
or baking the best crumpets and brewing the best tea in England, of course. I'm just kidding. I'm
It's
just kidding.
for boys. It is being a football player. Yeah, but
No, but you didn't
that's
become you didn't end up necessarily and maybe you have, because I only know so much of your early on story, but
yeah,
if you
yeah.
didn't necessarily come to fruition, Marcus, with respect to pursuing an NFL dream, let's
Mm.
call it, right?
Yeah.
If you can give me or talk about some things that you were able to transfer from your lifelong
Mhm.
passion with football,
Mhm.
making that transition to, okay, I'm not going to be a professional football player.
Mhm.
I'm going to go and really explore and really give my all to this entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
talk about what transition from your experiences as a football player, lifelong passionate football player,
Man.
up to that point where you're like, all right, you know what? This is what I'm doing going forward.
Man, it's so many correlations between sports and business. It is wild, which is why you see a lot of people who are successful in business have some type of sports background. Not saying they went all the way to the NFL or even through high school, but if you have some of that in your background, you have an understanding of kind of how business works. And the biggest thing for me is teamwork, right? Especially when you're playing team sports, like you have your football, basketball, soccer, all those things. Not one person can control the win of that team. You need everybody to work
Mm.
together. So teamwork
Yeah.
was one. The other one I was saying would be dealing with adversity. Whenever let's just call it individually at this point, right? Let's just say a football player. I was a cornerback, so if you get beat on a pass, right, that's adversity, right? Everybody's looking at you like, what happened? What went wrong, right? You have to then be able to come back, erase that out of your mind, and come back and then make a play, right? You cannot stay down long. You have to get up, right? So
Yeah.
that's another thing with sports that correlates to business. The other I would say is leadership, right? You quickly understand who is the leader on teams and who is a follower, right? Now everyone cannot be a leader, right?
Mm.
Someone has to be a follower, but a leader had to be a follower at some point in time, right? So a leadership is another big key that kind of translated over that for me, because every team that I was on, I was quote unquote a leader, I would say, right? So then when I was able to move that over to business, I just fell right in line with that, just becoming a leader in that aspect, and then understanding how others thought and how others maneuvered. That's part of that teamwork aspect, right? Once you figure that out, the running the business stuff kind of falls in line.
Mm.
I couldn't agree with you more. And foundationally, I think what you're saying there, because you all went, again, as we discussed earlier, you went all the way at the bare minimum of what I know knowledge wise to D1 football, which is an accomplishment for anybody that knows that.
Oh,
That's an
hugely.
accomplishment in and of itself. Whether you're a walk on or a scholarship player, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, to have the drive and perseverance to be able to do that is special, which definitely translates to being an entrepreneur and a serial
Yeah.
entrepreneur, in that aspect as well. For me, I didn't make it to that level, and that was by design. I chose to start working at 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm making to everything that you just spoke on, Mark, is, I was a part of teams and, up through, even high school a little bit for my first couple years of high school, until I was just like, yo, I love making money and this is what I'm going to go do. Right.
Money
But,
talks.
if coaches and, the elders of the world, whether it's parents or just anybody that we as younger individuals look to as guidance, as that leader type of role that you were talking about, I think it's important, as long as in a team type of setting, the right foundations of a team setting, as you describe them, are laid out. I think that's a huge advantage for children. Whether they're playing Little League or Pop Warner, or certainly going even through high school as well. And where I'm going with that is the basic foundational knowledge of where to find truths, right? Like how to think on your own as well. And I think that's an important characteristic of a leader as well. And my question coming to you, how, with the influences that you've had on life, the leaders that you've followed, that you kind of spoke on through your college experiences, sports experiences, and other aspects of your life as well. How have you utilized those resources to shape really what your leadership perspective looks like?
Again, it was just taking bits and pieces of each one that I liked and what I observed from them, right? So, for instance, there was a cornerback at CSU named Nick Oppenir, who was in a similar position as me coming in. But when I got there, he was a starter on the team and a leader on the team, right? So I kind of, because we had kind of a lot of the similarities, and I took a lot from what he had and put that in what I tailored to being a leader, right? Which allowed me to be a better leader on that team. Let's talk about your parents are leaders, right? A lot of times we exclude our parents as being leaders, but they definitely have an influence on how we lead, because they're leading the household. They're leading you on how you want to be in growing up, right? So
when you're a kid, I think your mum and dad, you look at them like they're the gods of the world.
Right. Yeah. No question. No question. So I've definitely taken a lot from what I've learned from my mom and my dad in how I maneuver throughout this world as a leader. No question. So to answer your question, is just taking bits and pieces from each and one of them and kind of catering to what fits for you, because you can never just lead how someone else's leads, because you're not that person. It's impossible.
There you go.
Probably won't work out for you.
Quick follow-up question to that: would you give yourself a classification to your leadership style? If so, what is it? Or is it something that you're just kind of like organically just kind of going with?
You know what? I'm kind of organic, because as a leader, you have to understand you can't lead everybody the same way.
No.
Right? Because if everybody takes leadership a little bit different in how they're spoken to, and how you're trying to guide them, you have to be you have to be open as a leader in how you maneuver around the people that you are leading, so you can be the best leader for that person, right?
And how to bring the best out of people.
Exactly. And then you have to be able to lead over the whole entire team versus just that individual, right? So it's a lot of different nuances for me. That's how I feel, where I have to kind of put on different type of hats with different people in order to get the best out of them.
That makes sense.
No, I agree, and I think that's the best way to do it, and that's a direct summary of what we're kind of talking about, making things your own from the influencers. Because at the end of the day, Discreet, you said it, our parents are the earliest influencers in our lives, right? And then as we move on in life and we are exposed to other individuals, as I mentioned earlier, that we view as leadership type of people, whether that's in your whatever faith that you're following, or sports, or teachers, firemen, cops, whatever the case might be. I think there's a challenge for us as well of, okay, how much do we let this other leader in? Because it becomes like a balance now. And I think that directly correlates, Marcus, to what you're talking about, is making sure that everybody has their own beliefs, foundation, but what correlates, what speaks to me, and how can I, take what I learned from this person and kind of mold it into, as you put it, my malleable, organic style of being a leader. As an entrepreneur, as I'm sure a husband, a father, all the different types of roles that we as individuals play. I think is important, but again, it's a challenge, but that comes through, at least in my experiences, being self-aware of, as you kind of talked about it earlier, Marcus, who you really want to be as an individual, collectively and all around, right? And I
add a little bit to that. If you think of leadership, and you touched on a little bit as well, if you think of leadership as just being a parent, right? With me having kids, I cannot tell all my kids the same way how to do things.
No.
Right. Each of them needs to be talked to just a little bit different to kind of understand where I'm coming from in order for the point to get across. It's the same way in leadership. The same way we do with our team with the Empire Firm. Each individual that comes in that we're mentoring to help them to grow their business, we sit down with them a lot of times one-on-one to try to understand what makes them tick. That's the biggest thing as a leader. Once you find out what makes people tick, then you understand how to talk to them.
Yeah, exactly.
True story. And you mentioned right there, and this is a perfect segue because I definitely want to start segueing, if you will, to the Empire Firm and what you're doing with that. So the one way I want to do that is I want to ask you a question. What's maybe something today with excuse me, the respect of what you're doing with Empire Firm? What's something today that you knew, or excuse me, something that you know today about insurance as a whole, or specifically life insurance, that you did not necessarily know or have a complete understanding of when you started this venture with the Empire Firm?
You know what I didn't know was how many people truly did not have it or understand it. Right? It's something that we talk about as far, like, for instance, a lot of people have life insurance when they get a job. Right? So they think they're truly covered with life insurance because they have it through their job. When in actuality, that job owns that life insurance, not you. Right? So if you happen to get fired from that job, if you quit that job to go do your own thing, if you stop working full time at that job, you're no longer covered. That's a lot of things people don't understand as well too, right? So having your own individual life insurance is the key, and the other part of that is getting term versus whole life. I don't want to dive deep into that, but just people not knowing the true aspects of life insurance. I can't say people, because to answer your question, I didn't know all of that at first either.
No.
Right. But now that I'm educated to that, I want to educate others on that too, and how much of benefit that'll have on your life moving forward. Because with life insurance and investing in finances in general, those are the biggest pieces that destroy families. Right? Marriages a lot of times are ended because of financial concerns, or when someone passes away or dies, like families are arguing over what's theirs, or what they're owed, or what he said he was going to give me, because there's not that much money left. So everybody's fighting for little pieces of crumbs. When if somebody would have got life insurance and their family was educated on life insurance and they came up with a will, everything will be in order, everything will be in place, and I think a lot of families will remain together, right? So that's my biggest piece on that.
No, you're right. And you know what? Let's call a spade, right? There are the people who are greedy when it comes to those type of situations, right? And for those people that are greedy in this situation, having set in place exactly what Marcus just talked about, not only is it going to save the stress in your family, but it's going to save you a lot of dollars and headache as well, by not having to go through legal processes and court fees and lawyer fees, which could go
you lose what you were going to gain going to court fighting over the money.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
It's really crazy. Just have a will, and all of these steps that I'm talking about is really simple. Like it's not really hard. You just have to take the time to sit down with someone to educate you on this thing. And that's what I want to get across. Of course, I sell life insurance. Of course, I sell investments, right? But I just want to, and our company wants to educate people on these things, have a true understanding of what you're signing up for. Because so many times we sign up for things just based off what someone has told us, but they have not educated on it. So then we sign up for the wrong thing because that particular person was just trying to get a sale or get some money.
Yeah.
Right? If you have to truly educate your people on what they're getting, so they have an understanding of what's going on, right? So that way you can able to build trust with those people, right? People want to deal with people that they trust, and I just want people to trust us because we want the best for them. It's not about the dollar for us. We want to make an impact over income at Empire Firm.
No, and I think that's a beautiful part of how you really build a brand. You build a brand that people can really rely on and trust and find loyalty with, as we're discussing as well, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of, sales individuals of any kind, and you're more about the education aspect of it and letting those individuals make their own choices with you, guiding them along the way, which is the best way to do it. In my experience, I've been a salesperson my entire life, man. And anybody that is building their own brand, whether it's in sales or not, especially even as an artist, listen, whether you like it or not, you're a salesperson. Because you have to, sales is part of building a brand. Marketing is part of building a brand. And I think you have always done that, Marcus, as long as I've known you, in a very profound way where it connects with the right people that you're looking to have it connect with, right? Because your services aren't going to be forever, for everybody. The way that you're educating people, as you kind of talked about it with respect to how you go through the process as a parent with your children. And people are educated or learned in a different manner, and no different than like I'm making music. I can't make music for every person in the world. That's just not going to happen. And that goes for anybody. Same way discreet with you producing beats. You're not producing beats for necessarily a country artist. You know what I mean? Maybe a country hip hop artist. Different story.
I know for a fact there's millions of people who won't like my music. But that makes me laugh. But that's not because it's crap. That's because it's just scary.
No, exactly. And I think you build, in Marcus's scenario and the Empire Firm scenario, the more you can do that and be authentic in the education piece, that's how you, like we as artists, that's how we connect and build with our fans, right? Because there's even more of a trust when it comes to dollars. You're asking people for their dollars. Me as an artist for a single, I might be like, 99 cents to go spin this track on Spotify. But Marcus, when it's not 99 cents, for this type of thing, there's real money involved, so to speak, depending on, because the beautiful thing is you can go as high as you want in certain scenarios. There's many breakdowns. And to your point earlier, we're not going to go over and break it down in detail, but I will tell you this, people, reach out to Marcus Shaw and the Empire Firm for any questions above and beyond what we're going to talk about and knowledge that's going to get dropped here today in generalities, because there's a lot of good information with insurance in general and specifically life insurance that we're talking about. One of the things that I didn't know until, again, I educated myself on life insurance once upon a time is you can, and correct me to whatever extent, because every policy is different, of course, Marcus, but one thing that I didn't know with life insurance is you can actually borrow against your life insurance, programs that one has in an individual program as well. If you could just, again, generally talk about what that looks like for maybe one of your clients and maybe scenarios where it would be beneficial to maybe borrow against, or if you need to borrow against your policies.
Yeah. So that particular insurance that you're talking about is either called whole life, universal health. You probably heard on the internet as be your own bank. I don't necessarily promote that insurance, but I will talk about it, right? Because like you say, all insurance is not for everyone. It does have its place in the insurance world. But I will say this: I will say 95% of the people, probably up to maybe 99% of people, don't necessarily need that. Right, because what you're doing with that insurance, you have it's a life insurance on one side, and technically basically a savings account on the other side. Yes, you can borrow from that, but then you also have to pay interest on the money that you're borrowing from that account. And on the other side of that, it's affecting your death benefit, right? So if you're getting that for a life insurance piece, you're really going to hurt yourself if you're pulling from that and not able to pay it back, which a lot of people, and in business, some things just don't go the way it needs to go, right? So if you're unable to pay that back, that will decrease your death benefit, right? And then on the other side of that is, in most of those policies, not all of them, but in most of those policies, if let's just say you had 50,000 in the savings account, the money that you can pull from, and the death benefit is 150, right? You would think you'd be able to get the 150 plus the 50 if you passed away during that time, but you don't. You would only get the 150. They'll use the 50,000 to help pay for the other side of that death benefit. Right. So that's another reason I typically don't like those things. But you're right. But for some people who truly has their businesses in order, and a lot of times for high net worth people, they use those policies to help grow their business, right, using that money. And it's also a tax benefit for them. But for most people who truly just need life insurance, you just need to have life insurance separate, which is what I teach with term life insurance. And then you can invest the rest. 10 times out of 10, you'll have more money doing that if you put your money into a mutual fund, into a Roth IRA, and building your money that way than you would with the whole life, doing the life insurance that way.
Nah, that's good. Nah, people, listen, if y'all haven't figured it out, y'all are getting some free game here today.
Oh, definitely.
And let me say this, which is another piece that kind of makes or breaks people, is the whole life insurance policy is typically 5 to 10, depending on what you have, will be 5 to 10 times more expensive than what you would be paying with term. So it's more affordable for people, because what happens is this, right? People get those expensive products, right? They get sold those products, and then times get hard. And what do most people do when times get hard? They start cutting bills. what bill are they going to cut first? Their life insurance bill, because it's not catered to them in that moment right at that time because it's so expensive. Now, if you had the term and you something that was affordable, and this is what we teach people, like you need this much for coverage, but I understand you're not comfortable with that payment. We don't force them to make that payment. We want them to have a payment that they're truly comfortable with having, so that when times get hard, that's not the bill they cut. Because if you cut that bill and a couple of days later someone passes away, that person is no longer covered. Or that person may get sick and you forgot to get the life insurance again, and now they're no longer insurable, right? So once you get life insurance, you should keep life insurance. There's no way you should get rid of life insurance, because you're never going to be as young as you are today. You're never going to be as healthy as you are today.
No. That is
It's
big fact.
It's and you know, it's you saying that, Marcus, it's crazy to think, but again, you're right. People are environments sometimes of their circumstances.
Yeah. Can I like,
you know,
understand? Right. Yeah.
You know, having to even be a position in a position to, you know, think about, should I cut my life, my life term insurance? That's tough in general. So I guess let me ask it this way: what would be your advice to people, you know, in the moment, if they're really thinking about that? You know, what would your true advice to be? Like, yo, cut the cable bill instead of this.
Oh no, cut the phone bill, cable bill, any bill except for that bill. That's the only insurance that you have on you. Who's the most important person in your life?
Yes.
A lot of people say the mom, the dad, the kids. It's you. You're the most important person in your life. It is you. You should have insurance on you. We have insurance on our phones. We have insurance on our houses. We have insurance on our cars, but we do not have it on ourselves. It makes no sense. Think about that, right? And then if you cut the life insurance on yourself, and Lord forbid you die the next day, let's say you have a family with kids and a house note, right? Your income is completely gone. How will they continue to pay for that house? How will they continue to pay for that car? How would they be able to go to college that you and your wife had planned for your kids to go to with the income that you were making, right? Having life insurance allows you to keep that going, right? Without it, everything stops, everything changes. Now everything is just stress on stress on stress, not even including the stress that they have to deal with you being gone. That's already hard enough. And now you're going to add the financial burden on top of it. It just doesn't make sense. When it's really so simple and it's really not as expensive as you think, you can really get something that's really cost effective for you, just to make sure that your family is protected.
Yes. Man, it's so true. But yeah, you're right. Think about it. Like all the things that you listed. And you know, I know this, and sometimes I don't think about it because we just get lost in the day.
Yeah, just life, just day-to-day life. Yeah.
But think about it though, like friend, and we have life insurance on ourselves because we know we've gained the knowledge, right? But think about it. What you just said really resonates with me, man. People got insurance on their phones and their cars and some other stupid stuff that isn't really relevant to life, you know, in the good, but they're not insuring themselves, man. That says a lot. That says a lot about a lot of different things, which could probably be a whole nother show. So we're gonna lay off that one, you know, right quick. But one thing I do want to ask Marcus, and I certainly know the reasons, but if someone's considering, you know, life insurance and reaching out to somebody such as yourself, why should they be choosing you as opposed to any other person that they might be considering?
I'm a people's person, right? I truly want people to have the best product that is for them. And again, all of that is based on my education, right? I really want to educate that person, inform that person versus just trying to sell that person, this is what you need. I want you to understand why this is what you need. And I'm going to walk you along that entire process. And not only that, when you're dealing with me in our company, you have our direct number. You're not dealing with a 1-800 number. You don't have to go to no website to try to figure anything out. You just call my phone. We'll troubleshoot whatever's going on, figure it out. Any questions that you have, we're able to answer those questions, right? With confidence, because we truly know and believe that our product is the best product.
I like that. It is. And I will just reiterate, I mean, I personally know Marcus. So to discreet the point that you make, not just with confidence, but he's genuine in what
Yeah.
he says. He is extremely genuine.
You
I've
can
had
tell.
many different conversations with him about a lot of different things, and I very much approve that message there. We're going to make sure that in all the links that we are live with today, certainly when we get this officially posted up to our YouTube channel as well, all of the contact information is going to be loaded up in there for all you outsiders to go and check that out, to educate yourself. Reach out to Marcus for any questions that you have as well. We're going to make sure that you have a direct way to get a hold of him, because there's a lot. There's a lot of good information that we need to know as individuals, especially when it comes to the things, insurance specifically that we're talking about with Marcus and what the Empire firm as a whole offers to all of their amazing clients.
I haven't got it, and this is making me think I should, because I'm 43. I'm not 34.
And you got a teenage daughter, Discreet.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yep. We want them to be in the best possible position when you're gone. You want them to be the best possible position while you're here. There's no need for that not to happen while you're gone.
Exactly. If I was in America, I know where I'd be going to as well. But
right on, man.
I'm in the UK, so unfortunately.
Yep, I know. I'm sure there's someone out there that's for you out there for sure.
Yes.
So definitely get that taken care of, man, as soon as possible. Because like, for instance, everybody knows their birth date, right? Everybody knows when they're born. No one knows their death date.
Exactly.
You don't know.
So true.
Very, very, very true. Man, we're gonna start to segment over here to our next, or segue to our next segment. We're gonna get into hip hop history here.
Let's do it.
We're gonna do it. Discreet, do you have any final thoughts for Marcus, or any questions that have come up before we start to get into hip hop history?
I haven't really got a lot to say, but if anyone's watching and they've been listening properly, I've just been not so much in awe, but a lot of things Marcus has been saying is, yeah, man, this is things we need to be thinking about. Everybody, as adults, we're not getting any younger. So, yeah, that's my final thoughts on that. But no, I'm so today just feels like the perfect day to have Marcus on. Because it's just relating to a lot of, it's relating a lot to how I've been feeling.
Yeah, we can see you. We can see you, Marcus. We can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay. We lost him briefly. I know we're gonna get him back. But no, there's a lot of good knowledge there, and I think
definitely not just the life insurance, about his entrepreneur and all that. It's a lot of things he was saying were just very the way I've been feeling lately is just, what I'm getting at.
No, absolutely do, man. No, he's back. We got him back. We got him back. All good. But no, you're right, Discreet. I'll just say this lastly before we get into hip hop history. Everything that you had mentioned, everything Marcus spoke about, I think in general, and the hot take is brewing in my head right now for the end of the show. But I think there's certain instances where, like Marcus had mentioned earlier and alluded to, sometimes we just get caught up in the day-to-day life, right? And I think sometimes, the good old saying is you can't see the forest from the trees, right? I think sometimes we have to take that long step back and just take a breath and evaluate our life, even if it's once a month, right? Just set yourself half hour a month where you're just I'm just going to assess my life very generally. And then if anything additionally comes out of that, well, then you know what? That might lead to a different conversation. I got to give more time to it. But I think it's just important to make sure that we're all doing that in any aspect of our life, especially as parents, and all three of us are. So it very much resonates as well. And so I'm going to leave it at there. I'm going to get off my soapbox there. We're definitely going to make sure that we give you, Marcus, a few minutes before the show is officially over, and we all collectively close that door, just to give any final thoughts that you have. But with that said, Discreet, we are ready for some hip hop history, man. What is this week going to be dropping on us for our birthdays, our memoriams?
Well,
hopefully not any, but it's inevitable. And any releases that you want to talk about?
Well, this is all from last week's. My apologies, but I wasn't going to read off the birthdays, but I'll go over what I said last week anyway.
Let's do it.
But October the No, I won't mention the dates unless you want to know. But this
Nah,
is running.
just run them, man. Just run what we got for the week.
30th of September to the 6th of October in the week of hip hop history.
Okay.
But Public Enemy released their 4th album, Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Black. Idea and Abilities released their debut album, Firstborn. Jedi Mind Tricks released their 2nd album, Violent by Design.
Okay.
Common released his 2nd album, Resurrecting. Atmosphere released their 4th album, You Can't Imagine How Much Fun We're Having. I mentioned that, didn't I? How why do people have such long titles? A title shouldn't be any more than 3 or 4 words, I don't think.
That one's a big one.
It is, isn't it? Annoyingly big. Every time I read it, it's like, why did you title it so long? But October the 4th, Ultra Magnetic MCs released their debut album, Critical Beatdown. Inspector Deck released his debut album, Uncontrolled Substance. Roxanne Shante released her 2nd album, The Bitch Is Back. Common released his debut album, Can I Borrow a Dollar? So he released his debut album and his 2nd album in the same week, but in different years. I've just realised that.
Wow.
In 1992 and 1994. They're both in the same week, just in different years. And Cypress Hill released their 4th album, 4. You know, the Roman numeral 4.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like an album called 4. But yeah, do you remember that cover? It's like a green cover. And
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It was a very simple cover.
Yeah.
And you know what? Do we have any more discreet, or is that it for the week?
No, that's it. That is it.
All right. So I'm gonna respectively go real quick, and then I'm gonna kick it off to Marcus, and then as we always do with hip hop history discreet, we're gonna let you finish up. I think for me, taking out of hip hop history this week for me, it's the simplicity of the message. Like all the people that you mentioned, 2 that specifically jump out to mind. Roxanne Shante, which I'm a huge fan, and Common. Those 2 stick out to me the most, and Public Enemy. I want to include Public Enemy in what I'm about to say here as well. The simplicity of the message, the power of the messages from a conscious standpoint of a message, and rap and hip hop, and those 3 individuals. It was a very clear cut message. Like I remember, Roxanne Shante watching the Netflix movie. One thing that sticks out to me when she was 9-10 years old out there, literally busting teenagers and dudes in rap battles at 9 years old. And, she was doing it, she essentially kind of was doing it for 2 parts. One, just the level of what she was doing, but also for money. Like she was going battle for battle with these people at 9, 10, 11 years old. And that's how
that entrepreneur mindset at such a young age.
Exactly. And look what that led her to. She ended up rolling with Big Daddy Kane and the Juice Crew and all of them. I mean, Public Enemy, if you're hip enough to hip hop, you very much know who and what Public Enemy ultimately was about. And then just bringing that together from a conscious standpoint with Common. I mean, Common very much is a conscious rapper. Foundationally, right? He could break dance. He could do a lot of different things. But I think it's the simplicity of the message where we got to keep things authentic and real.
Definitely.
And share those messages.
Common.
Very much so. And I think it's also because it resonates with what Marcus was speaking about today. You got to take that step back and understand and really figure out what the message is or the goal of what you're really trying to do. And so that's what really sits for me. And I take out a hip hop history, from what you discussed on this week, Discreet. So I'm gonna digress. My turn is over. Marcus, any one thing, couple things, any general thoughts that you want to take out of what Discreet wrote off for him? And he can repeat some things if you need be.
Yeah.
No. For the ones that I knew about, at least like your Common, your Inspector Dex, Roxanne, their music was so powerful, so great in that time, but still relevant now.
Yes,
that's how that was great music when they were making that music, right? And you talk about the simplicity of it, like it gets directly to the point, and you know what it is. There's nothing
Exactly.
better than that to me with
Mm.
music, right? If you could make something that lasts a lifetime that people are still talking about, and you're
Mm.
still relevant in that nature, like for Roxanne, she was the pioneer for all the women MCs, right? Doing that at such a young age, stepping up to all the men. It's the same thing that women are going through now in rap and hip hop, right?
Mm.
Now
Mhm.
to the fact that if you look at the charts now, most of the women are at the top of the charts over men. That was all because of her. The conscious rap with Common, like there's so many of those rappers that are out now. Back then, people weren't in the way that he rapped. It was a lot of conscious rap, but the way that he rapped his conscious raps, it
Yeah.
was kind of unheard of at that time,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
And then for him to
He
still be
was the
relevant
only
now
one.
in this process, right? So
Mm.
it's just a beautiful thing to see that they're all still relevant in what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Discreet. What are you taking away from this week's hip hop history?
I mean, obviously, I read this out on Sunday. I'm just going to apologize, Mike. I was so tired and so stressed after work today. I forgot to write
Bro,
down
it's all good
this
because
week.
we're always able to
Yeah.
take something, whether it's a
But
repeated hip hop history or not.
yeah,
But what do you got
but
for
I
us?
did.
What do you got for us?
I did take something away. The fact that I didn't even realize last week that the fact that I said about Common releasing his first album and his second album, it was in the same week. Just different years, 1992 and 1994. The actual date was the 6th of October in 1992 and the 4th of October in 1994. But I didn't realize that when I read it out on Sunday. But I wonder if it was intentional.
I was
I
just
bet
gonna say
if it
that.
was him, I
Yeah.
bet so. I bet it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I reckon it was, But yeah, that's all I'm going to take from it.
What's really dope about Common, and we talked about
Mm.
this with John on Sunday, right? You know what I really appreciate about Common's authenticity is he literally lives what he speaks. I mean, you know,
Mm.
Dooney
Yeah.
told us on Sunday that Common is a regular inside the
Mm.
walls of, as
Yeah,
John
he did
so
tell us
eloquently
that.
put it, in the monastery, because that's where John
Mm.
was for 31 years. He was in the
Yeah.
monastery. He was not in prison. And I love that Common, you know, he walks it like he talks it, right?
Mm.
And I think getting down to building a brand, you know, whether you want to call something or somebody a brand, an influencer, you know, let's just call it the general term of legacy, right?
Yeah.
I think it very much correlates, again, how Marcus, you described what you've always done as an entrepreneur, what you and the Empire Firm are specifically about today and going forward foundationally. And it's not just something that you say, but it's something that you live. And I think there's a lot of relevancy to what came out of hip hop history for all of us. Because, you know, Discreet, you talked about, you know, you asked the question, you wonder if, you know, it was done with intent.
Mm.
Marcus, and I agree with you, Marcus, if it was Common, it damn sure was done with intent.
Yeah.
No different than you're being intentful, Marcus, with your process of education and sharing knowledge with individuals to where they can put themselves first and foremost, because let's be real, sometimes we have to be selfish as individuals because, you know, especially if you're the, you know, quote unquote breadwinner of a family.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're not taking care of yourself, well, you can't be that breadwinner for the other
Exactly.
people that
You can't.
you're providing for.
Like
day
Marcus
in, day
said
out.
earlier, you know, you're the most important person because if you don't look after yourself, exactly what you just said, Mike. How can the other people be important if you're half dead because you're not looking after yourself?
Exactly.
Mm.
Very much exactly. And you know what? That's directly going to relate, or excuse me, take us right into our overall hot take of the week. And we'll each individually speak on this and wherever the conversation goes from there. You know, the conversation goes from there. And I will give everybody on Instagram a heads up. Instagram only keeps us for an hour before Instagram kicks us off. But we are still going to be live on Facebook. We're still going to be on the We Outside livecast channel. And the rest of this conversation is going to be loaded up as well. But just anybody watching on Instagram, just know you're going to lose us in 6 minutes. That's Instagram's fault, not ours. All right. So with that said, this is going to be my hot take. All right. And people, I formulate the hot take from our conversation that we have here. So it might take me an attempt or two to really get it down. So bear with me here for a moment. But the hot take of the week that I want to give to all of us to individually kind of fill in the blank is this. It is very much okay in certain times and points of life where we as individuals have to be selfish because blank. All right. So there are points and times in life, generally speaking, where it's okay. And it's, I would even say, necessary for
Yeah.
us to be selfish and as individuals because of blank. Discreet, I'm going to let you actually go first this time around. Go ahead and fill in that blank for us.
I think the blank would be because you cannot progress if you're not selfish sometimes. Yeah, other people might progress if you're looking out for everyone else, but if you can't just put that on yourself and like, I'm going to look after me today, how can you progress? So yeah, you can't progress if you don't be selfish sometimes.
I like that, Discreet. I like that. Marcus, I'm going to drop that for you again, sir, respectfully. Again, it was something along the lines of, it is very necessary and important that we as individuals choose to be selfish at times in our life because...
I'm going to go along the entrepreneur route and say it is okay to be selfish when you're growing a business. In those beginning stages, you have to kind of be selfish with your time around your family or friends, whatever the case may be, in order for you to grow individually, to get everything in line the way you need to grow for your company to be successful. Because when you have stuff kind of pulling from you and you're doing all these other different things that you're not truly focused on the game plan of what you have set forth, it's kind of hard for you to succeed.
All right. I'm liking you guys' takes today. And I'll round out the hot take, by filling the blank this way. I think it's very important and necessary as individuals to be selfish at certain points in life, as long as there is balance. Because to what you were just kind of speaking on, Marcus, and you're an individual who moves in many different directions, right? You have many different businesses, many different things going on. You have a podcast yourself as well, so you're spread in many different directions. Discreet, you as well, myself as well. I think it's important to do that as long as we are balanced, because if we are not balanced, well, then what you guys spoke on and what we spoke about in generalities today, I think we will lose the power to tell ourselves that it's okay to be selfish, because we're going to get so deep in the weeds with one thing. Those other 3, 4, 5 things that we might be a part of, they're going to start to crumble, right? And once those 3 or 4 things start to crumble, well, again, as a whole, it's going to start to overtake us as an individual. It's happened to me before. It has happened to me before, and I learned from it. So it is okay to be selfish at those points in life, as long as it is balanced, because again, you are not the only person in your life, right? I mean, we all are parents, or have significant others, whether it's our partner in life or not, or partner in partner. There's significant others in our business that we have to show up for every single day as well. And if we don't have that balance with being selfish, then it's all for naught. And that is my hot take.
I like that one. That's a good one. I like that.
Definitely.
So I will leave the hot take there. But with that said, Marcus, we are gonna, this is the point of our show, where we're gonna respectfully start to say goodbye. It's kind of like the 2-minute countdown, if you will, which I know resonates with you being a football player and a passionate football lover still today. So we wanna allow you the opportunity, Marcus. Number one, to say thank you again for all your time and the knowledge that you shared with us and the conversation that you had with us and for the outside.
Appreciate it, millions.
But we want to just have you kind of ride your segment out. Take a couple moments, take a couple 2-3 minutes. Just any final thoughts that you want to leave with us and or the outsiders watching today, or those that are going to watch in the future as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys again for having me on the show. I'll make this short and sweet. If you don't have life insurance, get life insurance. If you don't know about life insurance, find out about life insurance. If you have any other questions along those lines, hit up my team at the Empire Firm. I'm sure there'll be links on these videos. You can hit me up directly. I am open to talking with you, coming up with a game plan for your future. A lot of times we get caught up with life and we don't have a game plan for our future. We're so busy living with day to day. But by the time you get 60 and you don't have that game plan, you're going to be in a world of trouble. It's a lot easier to start now. Get your game plan in order, so when those things hit and they come, you are prepared for those, because you had someone like myself who was there helping you along the way. And
I'm telling you now, people in America, I know Mike, and now if Mike knows Marcus and they trust each other, I'm telling you, Marcus is the place to go. Like I trust Marcus with all I have, And I've never even met you, Marcus. That's because of Michael. Mike,
Yep.
should I say? I've never called you Michael. When did
Hey,
I
bro,
like
it's
you?
I've discreet. I've been called worse than Michael, so it's all good, bro. It's all
I
good.
don't think I've ever called you Michael before.
I don't
Mike?
think you have. It sounded a little, I'm not gonna lie, it sounded a little weird, but
It did, do it. But yeah, go to Marcus for life insurance, people in America.
no, for real. Marcus, for real, man. We thank you for the time and the knowledge that you dropped today and opening that door and being outside with us. You were no different than any other guest that we've had on. The door is always open. If you ever want to come out and talk about anything else or more about life insurance and what you guys are doing there at the Empire Firm, man, just say the word. The door is always unlocked, bro.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, man. Thank you guys.
Man,
for having
always.
me.
And
Thank you.
again, please, all the love to the family, bro. We hope
Back to
y'all
you
are
as well,
all
man.
over it.
You too,
Definitely.
discreet.
Thank you, bro. Love to
Yep.
your family, man.
I as well, man.
All right, man. Be good. You have a good rest of your day, Marcus.
All right, guys. You be blessed.
Yes, sir. You
Cheers,
too.
bro. Be blessed too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, discreet. We start to wind on down here. Respectfully, I mean, dope conversation we always have, but again,
Oh,
a different type of conversation that we have.
I've
but it's all
said it a
relevant.
couple
It's all
times.
relevant.
Like that, it just seemed like that conversation was meant to be today. Like a lot of what he was saying was just like making my brain just like, yeah, you're meant to be here listening to this.
Correct.
Definitely.
Man. So, what do you do? I know it's the end of your week. It's the end of your working for the man part of the week.
Yeah.
What do you got going the rest of the day? What's your weekend looking like? Anything new that you want to share with people out there?
Well, tonight it's just a couple of domestic things, really. But hopefully, by the end of this weekend, I'll be getting back into DJing. I really want to start getting back into that again. I've got a couple beats to do as well before I do, and really I need to finish them. But yeah, I'm getting myself back into DJing.
That's what's up.
I'm really excited about it. I think I had a bit of a disappointment a couple nights ago because I need to get a new computer, you see. So that's easily done once I've got the time to do it. But when I was all set up basically, and I was just installing the program, and it came up, your computer's not compatible, and my heart sank, man. And I think that's what's made the last couple of days a bit more stressful for me because of that disappointment. But you know, the weekend's here now. I can reassess what I've got to do. Well, I already know what I've got to do. But yeah, I've just got to, we've spoke about it before. If you want to do something, you'll have all these obstacles put in front of you. And if you're passionate about it, you'll complete these obstacles in front of you. And this is just another obstacle, bro, which it's easy enough to get over. So it's all part of the plan, I think. It's just trying to test me, like he tests us all. You know what I mean?
Well, you're a strong enough individual to handle that, and I know you've been very excited to get back at that. So like we always say, man, the universe is doing it for a reason. So
yeah, too right.
Let it be. Can't force anything, right? And yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm releasing some music in the next couple of days. I released. I think you saw that take that I did on a verse of Black Rob's "Whoa,"
bro.
Named it "Go."
Yes, that is a hell of a freestyle. Well, it's not quite a freestyle, is it?
It's a mix. It's a mix of freestyle and written. It's a mix.
Yeah, but it's all. It is fucking awesome.
Just raw vocals. I didn't do any production, anything. Literally, what you hear is what you get. That's literally me, exactly how I sound. That's out on my YouTube. That's on my
cool.
I appreciate that. It was just some fun.
It's fucking cool.
I think I'm gonna do that with another track maybe this weekend if I get some time.
You should.
I definitely want to write. I got 4 or 5 new tracks that I've written over the last couple of weeks. I am releasing. The vote is still out there, bro. I am either releasing Origin Story or We Outside, which kind of has subtly become the theme song for our We Outside.
I know, and I'll tell you what. Like I know I like the Origin Story, but We Outside. More I keep hearing it now, it's growing on me, and I'm like, yeah, just send them both out.
Don't tell anybody, but I might do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah?
know. But what I'm gonna do, here's what I'm gonna do. Voting
Yeah.
is gonna culminate tomorrow, Friday, because I wanted to hear what
Yeah.
everybody's thoughts are. So what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do at some point tomorrow, if you want to join me, you are more than welcome to. We will do it at a time that's convenient. A very, very,
Yeah.
very special and short live.
Yep.
We will run the full songs of Origin Story. And I'm doing it regardless. I'm just simply inviting you. If
I'll
you'd
join
like
you.
to.
Tomorrow?
And tomorrow
Yeah,
at some point.
Yeah, I'll join you.
And we'll see what people have to say. We can go. We'll listen to the whole thing. We can break down the lyrics.
Well, I produced them, so I should join you, really.
If you have,
yeah, I should.
I would very much welcome and appreciate that. So we'll talk about that offline. But deciding if I want to release Origin Story or We Outside. And I've decided the 6 tracks that are gonna make up my EP. I'm gonna drop the EP as soon as possible. We'll talk more about that, people. And which means I'm already working on my album. So it's been working in the back of the brain. So a lot of good stuff going on.
Bro,
I got to go to Connecticut next week. Chelsea and I got to go to Connecticut next week for a Porsche event with Mr. Tonio, Groovy Hospitality himself, DJ Groove. So we're looking forward to that.
A big inspiration as to why I've got back into DJing again.
Yes, exactly. Doing other things. We're selling a house officially next week. We got to start looking for other houses to buy and invest in, and just keep him busy, bro. Just keep him busy. That's all. And out of trouble. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. That's the best way to be. Like, one thing I've not done, I can't even remember the last time I've done it, is sit on a sofa watching TV. If I ever do that again, I feel like my life is over.
I think it's good.
It should be okay. Let me smell. I got to smell some meat. Give me a second.
Oh, you smell the meat.
Yeah, it smells fine. And sometimes it's just color. Just what's the date on it? Well, if we're concerned, we can always bring it back and get new stuff. But yeah, it'll be fine. It is kind of brown. I don't know. Should we eat brown meat?
Like I would say, like, let me see it. But is that necessary? Do you want to put it on camera?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We can show you.
Yeah,
we can
show me, and I'll give you my opinion. I can't properly see it.
It's like.
Oh yeah, I'm making it out now. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
it's touch and go, really.
It's touch and go. It's touch and go.
Yeah, because you say it's got tomorrow's date. It's got tomorrow's date.
Tomorrow's date, but we've also gotten stuff from this store before where it's like, oh, you still got like a week, and it's like cheese. We bought some moldy cheese one time.
Yeah,
that was 2 weeks out or something like that. So
what is it? Beef or is it beef?
It's beef. We'll go get more.
Yeah.
I'm about to get off the live. I can run and grab some more. I got to go get meat. So in our closing segment of We Outside today, I have to close the door on y'all because I got to go get
some beef.
Oh man, too funny. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run down the street and grab some new beef. That's what I'm gonna do. So we'll pop outside tomorrow, bro. It'll be it won't be a We Outside per se, but you and me will pop on live. We'll go through Origin Story. We'll go through and we'll talk about music that I'm releasing and what's going on.
Yeah,
how does that sound?
Definitely. That sounds good to me.
Done.
Awesome.
All right. Well.
All right.
I will give you a call because I'm going to get some meat and I'll have some time. So I'll call you and we'll talk about what we needed to talk about.
Brilliant, bro.
I'll see you here in a minute, bro. Hey, all the outsiders, thank you for opening that door. Y'all be well. Sundays and Thursdays. Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Central. Always at this time on Thursdays. That's it. We're closing that door.
We outside.
Y'all
Bye,
be good. Peace.